Hello. Today this video is going to focus on chapters 1 through 4 of The Outsiders. What's happened so far is in chapter 1 we meet a bunch of different characters. First we meet Ponyboy. He's the main character of the book. And we see the story happening through his eyes. He's the protagonist. We also meet his brother, Soda Pop. Soda Pop is really good looking, and many girls fall in love with him. He's really good at smooth talking and getting his way. The third brother is named Derry. Derry is this big, tough guy. And he becomes the head of the household because the three brothers' parents died in a car crash. So Derry's job is to keep people safe and keep Soda Pop and Ponyboy out of foster care. He ended up growing up way too fast because he had to provide for his family. He works 2 different jobs. Soda Pop also works. He works at a gas station, and he fixes cars. Ponyboy is really smart. He reads a lot of books. He studies really well in school. But the older 2 brothers are not in school. They're dropouts. So they think it's very important for Ponyboy to continue learning and focusing on school. The group of boys are also in a gang called the Greasers. The Greasers all look similar. They usually wear jeans, maybe jean jackets or leather jackets. All their hair is long and greased back. And that's why they're called Greasers. There's another gang in town called the Socs. The Socs want to be involved in gang, but that group has more money and more privilege. So in the book, it describes the background of the home lives of the different gangs. Another character that is involved, his name is Dally. He's from New York. He's a super tough, mean person. Dally has been involved in murders, he's been involved in gangs, and drugs. He's had a lot of different crimes, so if he was ever busted, he would definitely go to jail, and he might even get the electric chair because of all of the trouble he's been in. He's really not a good person, but he is involved in that gang. Another character that is mentioned in the story is 2-Bit, which is Soda Pop's best friend, and they work together. They go out a lot, and they try to get dates with a lot of women together. The last character that's really important is Johnny. Johnny, they say, looks like a hurt puppy. That's because at home he's beat up. His parents abuse him and yell at him. The other members of the gang really stick up for Johnny and protect him because he needs a lot of help. His family isn't good, they're not supportive, so the gang is supportive for him. So before, Johnny was also beat up by the Socs, and they almost killed him. His face was all beat up because of one person in that gang had a bunch of rings on. They also kicked him and broke ribs. He was very badly injured. So usually what happens with the Socs, if they're going to go beat somebody up, is they get really drunk and then they go find other gang members. They don't fight fair. It's not a 1-to-1 fight, but more like 5 people to 1. So that's a pretty basic summary of chapters 1 and 2. So one night, Johnny and Dally and Ponyboy decide to go watch a movie. And they meet 2 girls Those two girls, though, are not part of the greaser community. They're part of the Soch community. That means that they're a little bit more stuck up, a little more higher class. One of the girls, named Cherry, her real name is Sherry, but she goes by Cherry because of her red hair, and her friend Marcia are watching a movie. Dally is sitting behind them and starts picking on them and yelling at them. Until Johnny gets involved, which is a huge surprise because Johnny is usually super quiet and shy and doesn't talk a lot. However, he was done with Dally picking on those girls. The girls were obviously scared and upset, so Johnny got involved. Dally was so surprised and became upset and left. Johnny and Ponyboy went ahead and sat with the girls and they chatted. And they watched 2 movies that night. And ate popcorn and drank pop. The 2 boys decided to bring the girls home, but what happened was that Cherry and Marcia were dating 2 members of the Soch's gang. One of them was named Bob. So when they were going home, they saw the gang and threatened to fight each other. And the girls were like, no, it's okay, we'll go back with you. So they get in the car with the Sochs and leave. That same night, Ponyboy and Johnny are walking back. And they get really tired and decide to just sit down and watch the stars. However, they fell asleep. If Johnny didn't show up at home, it's not a big deal because his family doesn't care if he's there or not. His dad is always drunk and his mom just doesn't care. However, Ponyboy's house is different. His 2 brothers really take care of him. And Derry is super strict. And he really wants Ponyboy to do well and have a good life. He wants him to become successful. So in Derry's idea of doing that, he has a lot of rules. So when Ponyboy woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and went home, Derry was upset and yelled at him and became so upset that he hit him. Derry hit Ponyboy in the face. Ponyboy got so upset that he ran out and left. Found Johnny sleeping in the park still, and they decided to go for a walk to try to cool down. Ponyboy knew that if he just would walk a little bit, he could cool down so he could go back home and have a chat with Derry. But then they saw a blue Mustang. That blue Mustang belonged to Bob, one of the Sochs. When they saw Ponyboy and Johnny, they became upset because they had picked up their girlfriends. And again, they had about 5 people in their car against 2 guys. It was not a fair fight. So they started fighting. Ponyboy had his face dipped down in the fountain because he needed to wash his hair. He was almost ready to pass out when his head got yanked out of the water, and he looked over to see that Johnny was sitting next to a dead body. Johnny had stabbed Bob in the back with a knife, killing him because Bob was holding Ponyboy's head underwater. Johnny didn't know what else to do. He thought that he was going to kill him, so he had to kill Bob to save him. What are they going to do? They're stuck. Johnny kills somebody. So they decided that they're going to go find Dally and ask for help because Dally had been in that situation before. So Dally gave him new clothes and told them to go find a church that's in the country, get on the train, and jump off at a certain spot and go in the church and hide. Dally gave him $50 for food, go and buy a week's worth of food, and then hide, and Dally would be there to see them later. So the boys got on the train and arrived at the church. and decide that they should cut their hair and change their clothes, and they're going to stay and wait. That's a short summary of what happened in chapters 1 through 4 of The Outsiders. Let me know if you have any questions, if you are understanding the book or not understanding the book. Some of the words are not what we normally use in conversation. It's like pop culture words, which really that happens today. So, like the word yeet, for example. It's the same concept. Their words are different. I hope that you can figure it out by looking at the paragraph to understand what they're meaning. For example, like fuzz means the cops. Weed, I know it looks like weed, like pot that you smoke, but really that's what they call their cigarettes, is weed. Words like that. Or like tough, which means cool. Again, this is the summary of chapters 1 through 4, and this is what we would have talked about if we would have had a Zoom class. Good luck, and keep reading.